Hi, I'm Dr. Jeff Grover, Chief Research Scientist at Grover Group Incorporated, and welcome to today's session on Bayesian Experiment. We'll do this using the odds ratio. For our experiment, we'll say we're on a college campus. The college campus has athletes and non-athletes, and we're curious to determine if most athletes are leaders or not. So we'll come up with an experiment and we'll do 50 iterations of a sample where we go up to students, talk with them, determine internally if we think there are leaders or not, and then ask them, are you an athlete or not an athlete? Then we'll record our results. So we'll do this using statistics and random draw. So for our experiment, we'll have a bowl, and then in that bowl it will have the odds of 1 to 3, 1 being a leader, not a leader. And then we'll have two urns, urn A and urn B, urn A representing athletes and urn B representing non-athletes. So we'll conduct this experiment, and then at the end we'll randomly select a marble and determine whether or not it is an athlete or not an athlete. So stay tuned, be right back. Welcome back. So here's the formal experiment. So I'm interested in approaching the student, and based on my perceived leadership abilities of the student, I want to know if they are an athlete or if they're not an athlete. I'm just curious. So what I have here in my bowl is glass pieces. So I have black representing that a student is a leader, and I have white representing that a student is not a leader. Now these students can be athletes or non-athletes. I have two flasks, one for non-athletes and another flask for athletes. I will do random draws from the bowl and put the glass piece in each one of these vases, and I'll do this in an alternative basis. Now in this population of students, so to speak, the odds of a leader, black, to a non-leader are 1 to 3. So this is the mix I have in the bowl, and these are stirred and ready to go. So I will select 50, and then I'll place the marble glass pieces in each bowl. 1, 2, 3, I'm doing this randomly. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay, I'll set this to the side. And now I'm going to take the non-athletes and compare proportions of non-leaders to leaders. Okay, so the proportion of non-leaders to leaders, there's 15 non-leaders in the non-athletes, and there's 10 leaders in the non-athletes. So the athletes. For the athletes, there's 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 non-leaders and 5, 6 leaders. So now, I see another student walking on campus, and I approach the student, and I'll random select a marble, glass piece, and I'll see, this student I perceive to be a leader. So now the question becomes, if I perceive the student to be a leader, and I've done 50 other similar experiments with students, is this student an athlete or a non-athlete? So to determine this in just pure proportions, what I'll do is I'll remove the non-leaders and then we see the proportion of leaders in the non-athletes and the athletes. For the non-athletes we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and for the athletes we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the odds of this student being a non-athlete proportionally is greater than this student being an athlete, which goes contrary to somebody's opinion. Maybe they may think that all athletes are leaders. But in this experiment, we found out that the student that we approached on campus, talked to, we perceived they had a leadership ability, and it was determined proportionally using Bayes' odds that that student was more than likely a non-athlete. The same type of analogy can be used if you draw a white marble, right? A white marble designating that the student is a non-leader. So in that situation, I'll bring back the same proportions we had for the athletes and the non-athletes. So So 5, 10, 15, 19 here. $15 here. So the odds of this student being an athlete, even though they're perceived as not being a leader, is greater. The proportions are greater than those for the non-athletes. So that's the difference in proportions that can determine what category or what class a particular student is on a campus. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this experiment. We plan on doing more in the future. So stay tuned. Like us, follow us, and we'll be back. Have a great day.